Hey there, podcast listeners. You've been tuning into our episodes, but have you ever wondered about the steamy details of our adventures, or maybe hungry for some sultry, erotic stories?
Well, guess what? We've got something special just for you. Our exclusive Patreon page. It's like a VIP pass to the saucier side of our world.
So if you're ready for an exclusive behind the mic experience, head over to our Patreon page now. Trust us, this is where the magic happens.
See you there, patrons.
Have you ever stumbled across something so intriguing it changed your life forever? That's exactly what happened to us. One night, we were just a regular couple listening to a podcast. And the next, we found ourselves at a secret swinger party we found on Craigslist. Nervous, excited, and completely out of our depth. A share your wife party with total strangers. Things got crazy. You won't want to miss the shocking and violating club entrance requirement we never saw coming. Stick around, because in this wild, unexpected story, we talk about how we became swingers. Welcome to Swinger University. I'm Ed.
And I'm Phoebe.
Yeah.
So let's just get started.
This is our other origin story. So we've done the episode where we talked about our first full swap experience.
Yeah.
Check the link above if you haven't seen that story. This was like way back. This was like this is how we got started. Like the whole thing.
Yes.
This crazy journey.
I remember very distinctly sitting on the bed. I was at your house. We were still dating. And I was sitting relaxing on the bed. It was after work, and your office desk was also in the bedroom. And you were in your office chair, and you turned around and you said, "Hey, I wanted to share something with you. I've been listening to this podcast called Sex is Fun. And on one of the episodes, they were talking about swinging." And I was like, "Oh, really?" and you said, "What do you know about swinging? What are your thoughts on this?" And I said, "Well, actually, I thought about swinging when I was in my 20s. And then, of course, Ed's ears are perked up and he's intrigued. And then the conversation starts, right? He's like, "Oh, well, tell me more." And I said, "Well, at the time I was dating someone who was 30 years my senior."
Kinky girl.
And I thought, well, he's got to be, he grew up in the decade when swinging was really popular. I'm thinking, the 60s. And he was a drummer. So I'm thinking he must have had a crazy wild life, right? And he's a drummer. It was the 60s, free love. Of course he's a swinger, or he's done it. And so I bring it up to him while I'm dating, and he was emphatically a hard no.
Right.
Which I was just crushed, because I thought for sure he'd be up for an adventure like this. And It shocked me. I didn't expect the no. I didn't expect it at all.
Yeah.
And so I got shut down, and that was the end of that. But I could have completely been on a swinger adventure in my 20s had I been with the right partner.
Right.
I didn't know it didn't really exist. I figured he knew. He had like the inside track.
Right.
And because he shut it down so hard and so fast, there was no conversation about what if, or does it still happen, or blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And so I just acquiesced to his preferences, and that was that.
Fast forward a few years, and here we are having this conversation about swinging, and you were intrigued enough where you started to listen to the podcasts too. And we started with one, and then we switched to a different podcast, and we were listening to every podcast we could about all of the lifestyle.
Yeah. And at the time there was probably 5, maybe 7 and they'd pop up and they'd close down just like they do now.
Right.
You'd get invested in people's lives. And I remember this one couple, they'd always sit in front of the fireplace. They must have been in a cold environment, and they had a crazy cat that would run around their apartment. And one time he like jumped up on their dining room table and like did
knocked everything off,
slide, and like the candles sticks fell off and made this loud bang. And I remember how hilarious it was, but they were really entertaining. And then they stopped podcasting, and I was so sad because I was actually learning a lot from them.
Right.
And I loved hearing about their adventures, and I wish I knew where they were today because I was invested. So we hopped around, and I was listening to podcasts on the way to work, on the way home, and while I was at work. So I was just like a sponge, soaking them all in.
Well, it's one thing to listen to podcasts or watch YouTube videos or try and learn all this stuff through other people's experiences. But at some point, it has to go from an academic pursuit to a practical pursuit. And we finally got to a point where we were scouring the internet, trying to find, where do you go to do this? Yeah. Especially where we lived in Sacramento. How, where, who, what do we do next?
Yeah. And I do remember researching vacations for adult vacations.
Right.
But at the time, Desire and Hito, they weren't even hinting that they were swinger related at all. That was just adult. It was kind of like, what's the other one? The expensive one that's adult only, that's completely vanilla.
Oh, not Temptations.
It was right next
Sandals.
Yeah, Sandals. They were like that. Their websites were like that. You didn't even know that they were swinger friendly. And so back then I was like, oh, well, okay, I don't know. How are people doing this?
Right. What's our next step? What do we do?
So we couldn't find any of the adult dating websites, but we did find a Craigslist ad.
Yes. So at the time, Craigslist had a personal section, and there were ads being run for a share your wife party. There was another one, which is like a gangbang party, which we didn't go to, but that
was too scary.
That one seemed like extra, but share your wife sounded safe. And I think the biggest conversation that we'd had about that, and this kind of goes back to the last episode that we went into, which was we went at our own pace. So we knew, let's just go and watch.
Yes.
We don't have to do anything, right? Like if it gets too scary, we can run. Like we can run.
But we were having a conversation with another couple on Craigslist, and we were having a dialogue going on, and they said they were going to go. And so that also made us feel safe because we kind of knew somebody that was going. And so I took comfort in it, but I was a little nervous because I didn't know if they had any expectations.
Right.
Because we weren't ready to do anything but just watch.
Right.
And I think they wanted more.
Quite possibly.
That was my feeling.
Quite possibly. So we show up at this Craigslist share your wife party. I don't think they run them anymore. I'm sure they stopped after like that first year. Of course, Craigslist is now defunct. But we arrived at this party, and you're all going to laugh at this because basically it was like a junior high dance.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody was kind of standing on the sides or sitting on the couch, and there was this really awkward porn playing on the TV. It was really weird.
There was like multiple TVs, lots of porn, no music, and nobody was talking to one another.
No.
Nobody was socializing.
Yeah.
No one was making introductions. There was somebody in the kitchen because it was a 2-level suite that I had a full kitchen. Someone was in the kitchen trying to organize some snacks, which were really, it was like
I think pizza had arrived or something like that. It was
terrible.
strange. So there you go, painting the scene. This other couple that we met, so to speak, finally arrived, or we saw them at the party, And we kind of walked over to them and like stood in the corner with them because there's safety in numbers.
Right.
So here we were kind of awkwardly conversing with them, trying to figure out what our next moves were or what was going to happen. Because at this point, nothing is happening.
Yeah, nothing.
There is nothing sexy at all about this party. It's just bizarre.
Weird and awkward. And there were a lot of single males there. So not a lot of other couples.
Right.
So I kept wondering, when is the rest of the party showing up?
Yeah, where's the rest of the wives?
Yes.
Right.
Thank you. It was very weird.
Yeah. We're probably there for 20 minutes.
Felt like an hour.
It felt like hours, yeah. And then all of a sudden, a couple walks in through the door. Tall, slender, brunette. As she's
hip hugger white jeans that are and a crop top. I remember.
Yeah. So she comes in the door with her partner in tow, and she's just
stripping,
taking off her jacket. She starts taking off her top. She goes straight upstairs to the bed.
Yeah, I mean, this is like
no conversation, just in
and up and stripping.
Yeah,
and we're like, wow. We're like, well, what is this? Who is this? Is this a show? Is this the entertainment? I don't understand.
Right. First party, have no idea what's supposed to happen, have no idea what's gonna happen.
Right.
Next thing you know, we all kind of look at each other and go, well, apparently
the party's
something's
upstairs.
going on upstairs. So we follow and we go up there. And of course, we're like huddled together, staying very close to each other, making sure that nothing happens to us. And this girl is already naked and having sex.
Yes.
And the next thing you know, there's a whole bunch of single guys lining up to also have sex with this woman.
Yes.
And then who shows up at the party? Grandma shows up at the party.
Yes. After there was like two, I think there was two couples on the bed.
There were two couples on the bed.
There was an Asian woman with her partner.
Mm-hmm.
They looked a little awkward.
Yes.
And so they got on the bed, they started to do their thing, and then they got off. And so I was like, why are they so awkward? And this other woman is so confident and comfortable. And is this how it's supposed to be? Like, right. I don't know. So there was quite a difference between comfort and non-comfort. You could tell how people were. Okay.
Yeah. So an older woman is there with her partner.
We call her lovingly, we call her grandmother.
Right. Because she's probably in her mid to late 70s at this point.
Oh, maybe like older. Now?
No, then during the party.
Oh, think so?
Seemed like it.
Oh.
Anyway.
Could be.
She was an older woman. We'll just leave it at that. And she had an agreement with her husband. What we gathered, we had a conversation with them, very brief conversation, where she was there to just have a gangbang, as many single men as she wanted. And so all the college guys were lined up to have sex with her, and military guys.
Yeah.
And holy shit, grandma was having the time of her life. And we were just blown away. Like,
she was having so much fun.
Oh, yeah.
And she had some killer calves.
Oh, yeah. She had
because her legs were in the air.
Yeah, great legs. She was having fun.
She was having a lot of fun. And I kept looking at her husband, and he was just smiling. He was enjoying just watching her and enjoying her pleasure. And of course, there were other, during the lineup, all the guys were standing around the bed, jerking off, which was a little unusual and a little...
We hadn't experienced that before.
No, I wasn't used to seeing that. I wasn't used to seeing live sex, for crying out loud. So it was, not only, there was just a buffet of firsts in that evening. And I thought for sure someone was going to grab us and drag us onto the bed because people were lining up to have activity. And I thought, well, just by being there, does that mean we consent to having activity, sexual activity also?
Because we didn't know.
I don't know. I didn't know about consent and negotiation and all that.
Right. Which we will get back to with our last story. So bear with us. You gotta hang into the end because we got a great wrap up for this.
And the whole room just smelled like sex.
Oh,
like
yeah. There were legs in the air and we were standing next to each other and there's this leg waving right next to our heads.
And I'm like, oh my God.
And the whole time you were just waiting. You're like, hold on to me. I don't want to get pulled onto the bed.
I was like arm in arm with Ed. I was like,
So that experience, we walked out of there. We stayed probably for a little bit. The same thing kind of happened over and over again.
Yes.
And eventually we were just overstimulated. We had no idea. We knew we didn't want to do anything, so we didn't know what else to do. So we were like, we need to go talk about this.
It died down a little bit. I actually wanted to leave a little sooner, but we were kind of trapped in a corner.
Yeah.
And then once it started to clear out a little bit, then we went downstairs and more things were continuing in the party. And we got in our car. I think people peeled off and went to other hotel rooms.
That's right. They were going to do like an after party at another room. And we were just like,
our mind was blown. We sat in the car for a good 15, 20 minutes before we even left the parking lot, just trying to decompress everything that we saw. We couldn't even speak because we were just overwhelmed. It was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was one of those conversations we were just speechless.
Literally, yeah.
And trying to process what we had seen. Like, did that just happen? Did we see what we think we saw? Like, and then and of course, while we were there, we weren't talking. We were just watching. And so like having to like remember what we experienced and have the conversation afterwards. And did you smell the sex? And did you like all of the sounds? And did you see that thing? And how about that?
Yeah.
We sat in the car for probably a good half hour, 45 minutes. Just.
Oh, you went to a half hour, 45 minutes? I said
don't
20
remember.
minutes.
It just was crazy.
Yes. So then we never went back. We never did another one. We never went back, but we tried to figure out on our own what the heck happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we've never seen that ever again. Nothing like that.
Right.
Never. Something kind of close.
Yeah, we've seen similar things, but yes.
But yeah. Oh, and we left without, I don't think we even said goodbye to the other couple.
No, I think we
bolted.
Just like ran out.
But we did stay in touch and we went to the next event with them. It was a club that was vanilla during the week and swinger on the weekends.
Right. And this was a bar, pool hall, and hotel all in one.
And the bar had a stripper pole.
There was a stripper pole. Yep. So we had this conversation with them about, hey, what's next? What's the next club?
Yeah,
actually, I think they had said, we're going to this party. Would you guys like to go with us? And so we'd exchanged information and we showed up at this club and we were a little nervous going in, and we show up we see them arrive. And so we all go in together. So we're in a group now of 4 of us.
Right. And I remember sitting in the car being very nervous. We arrived first and I was already having some anxiety.
Yeah.
And because I didn't know what the hell was going to happen.
Right.
I'd already seen the share your wife thing. And I'm like, is it going to be the same? So I'm really nervous. I'm trying to breathe. I'm thinking of canceling. I don't even want to go in, but I rallied and we saw them pull up. We see them get out of their car. We go meet them inside.
And if you think she was nervous before, wait till you hear what happens next.
My God.
So we walk in the door.
There's a podium with a big, massive dude standing there signing people in.
Right.
So that was like, wow, okay, overwhelming.
Next thing you know, the host is coming up to us and saying, thank you for showing up. come with us into the office. We have to do an interview with you before you can go in.
Right. Right. And so I was also nervous about like putting down my real name.
Names, right.
They want a real name, and we're trying to stay like under the radar. We can provide our fake name. Like they wanted all the real stuff. And I think our IDs also.
Yes.
And so that was really disconcerting. That doesn't happen anywhere. Well, actually, it does happen at a real club.
Sort of, yeah.
This wasn't a real club, though. It was a conversion. So I didn't really know who these people are. Are they protecting my identity? I don't know. All these questions. So overwhelmed.
So we walk into this office.
Yes.
And this is when
all four of us.
We're all in this office together with
bright fluorescent lights.
The female manager and the big bouncer guy.
Yes.
And the next thing she says is, you need to all strip down before you go in.
And I was like, what?
Everybody kind of looked at each other and said,
huh?
Why? What does this have to do with going in here? You had the biggest issue of all. I'm perfectly happy to just take my clothes off anytime anyone asks. But you for sure were like, I'm already really nervous about this. And now what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, you sprung it on me. It wasn't anywhere listed. I'm not prepared for this. It's in a bright fluorescent room. I'm not getting naked in front of 1, 2, 3, 4 other people I don't even know.
Right.
Let alone the bouncer.
Right.
And this couple we just met. And I said, I'd be willing to get naked in front of you, the office manager, but not everybody else. And she said no.
Right.
She said no. And I'm like, why? So now I had all kinds of questions. I'm like, so are you afraid I'm wearing a wire? Do you think I'm a cop? I can unbutton my shirt and you could look, I could peel it open. And she's like, no, you have to get completely disrobed. I'm like, what about just down to my underwear, my bra and panties? No, you have to get completely naked. And I'm like, what the actual F?
Right.
I'm like, are there cameras in this room? Like, how do I know you're not filming me? You've got my face. You've got my real identity. Now you're like, what? I am like, no. Everybody. So I think the bouncer left. She negotiated with him to go.
Right.
And the other two couple, they stripped down.
Yep.
The woman was a little hesitant, but she eventually did it. You did it.
Yep.
And I'm like, fuck no. I am not doing it. And so the office manager, she clears everybody, including me, even though I didn't.
I think you did flash your bra.
I think I flashed my bra and that was it.
And that was it. And of course I'm standing there in my underwear. Hi, I'm Ed.
And I'm Phoebe.
Over our 12 years of swinging and 5 years hosting our podcast, we've learned that everyone's journey is unique. And not every question gets answered during a show. That's why we've created something special for you, a personalized coaching service.
We know how important it is to have someone to talk to, someone who understands what you're going through. Whether you're navigating challenges, seeking advice, or just want reassurance that what you're experiencing is completely normal, we're here to help.
With our one-on-one coaching service, you'll get the chance to connect with us directly via a personal video call. Have a specific question? Need some guidance to overcome a particular hurdle? We're here to support you every step of the way.
You can choose to talk with either myself or with Ed or with both of us together, depending on what works best for you. We'll tailor our advice to your needs and provide insights to help you along your journey.
If this sounds like what you've been looking for, visit us at patreon.com/Swinger University and select our coaching option. Let's work together to help you feel confident, empowered, and ready to take on whatever comes next.
Yeah. And so she made us get completely naked.
Maybe my wang was wiggling around. It's possible. I mean, it happens.
So they all get dressed and we go out the door where the podium is. And she's like, okay, you can go in. And I'm like, fuck it. I'm out of here. I'm like, this is bullshit. I'm like, I'm really traumatized.
Yeah. I mean, it set the whole night to be weird mode. I mean, way off. And now, knowing what we know now, no club would ever ask you to do that. It is so weird. And we've never heard another story like this. So if you've heard a story equally as weird or more disturbing, please let us know, because we've never heard anything like this before. It goes against everything about consent. It goes against everything about privacy. Like, why? There's still no reason for it. We still, to this day, have no idea why they were asking.
But we have good guesses that we'll tell you about at the end.
Yeah. We'll give you a little hint. We think we know why they did it.
So we're out at the podium. Now I'm feeling pressure to go in because we met people. We agreed to meet them. They wanted to meet us. They wanted to get to know us, and they wanted to go into the club with us. And I am now feeling guilty that I want to leave. Like, I want to run.
Little conflicted. Yes.
And so now I'm letting them down, but I have to honor myself. So I'm like, see ya. Bye. I'm running out of there. Like, the place is on fire. And I'm like, let's just get to the car. So we go back to the car. They feel bad about me freaking out. And so they hang out in the club. You and I are having a conversation in the car.
Yeah.
And I am just losing my shit.
Yeah.
Because I'm like so overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And pissed off.
Yes.
Because I feel like the manager ruined my perfectly good evening.
Yeah. We were nervous to begin with. And now you're angry and nervous.
Yes.
It was definitely not the start to a great night. Like, everything at this point is like, I don't know how we're going to recover from this. We eventually calmed down, took some deep breaths, and said, let's go in. The worst part's over, theoretically.
Right.
We hope. So we go back into the party.
Yes.
And we get the full experience. We see what's going on. We see the bar, the
porn
the
on the
pool.
TV.
There's some playrooms upstairs. They're a little dark. It's kind of hard to see what's going on. And
mattresses on the floor. It wasn't particularly sexy.
No. But there were people having sex, and we did get to watch the other couple have sex. They were a little exhibitionist.
Yep.
And that was our first kind of experience with another couple that we knew personally, watching them have sex in front of us, which was super exciting.
It was a little awkward for me watching more live sex, fully clothed.
Yes.
Because I wasn't participating, and it felt like I was just a weird peeping Tom.
Yeah. And I would say, to kind of characterize that night,
there were spots for us to sit. It was just me feeling a bit awkward.
Well, sure. We were kind of overwhelmed by at the first party because of the unknown. And then, of course, the very high sexual tension that was going on. It was just hot and crazy. This one was awkward and angry and like violated. And so the sexy probably wasn't quite as sexy as it could have been, because like, everything is all thrown off. It was between fight or flight or fuck. This was
get the
fuck out. So it ended with kind of a weird feeling where, are all the parties going to be like this? Is this going to be?
This was the second. I mean, this is how our experience started off.
Right.
We are just like, and I'm shocked because I'm like, I've probably listened to, I don't know, 100 episodes of podcasts by then.
Right.
At least 120 episodes. That's like 100 hours at least.
Yeah.
And none of them talked about this.
Right.
And so now I'm feeling like completely unprepared because I went in so feeling like confident.
You did all your homework.
I did all my homework and none of them talked about this. And
Yeah.
that made me mad.
Right. You're like, oh my God, how did we get steered so wrong about this whole thing?
What are we doing wrong? What is this shit?
Right.
And I remember just sitting in the car. I think because we had been to that club, I think twice.
We went back a different time hoping for a different experience. And it was different, better-ish. We never really had a good experience at that club, and they don't exist. They probably, I think they got shut down about a year, maybe a year and a half after we went. And we found out, so this is where we think what happened and why they did what they did to us. They were being investigated. And we think that they were looking for people who were wearing wires. And either it was a newspaper who was investigating them or it was the police. But because it was a hotel and because they had a fully licensed bar, they were paranoid about losing their liquor license. And for anybody who's ever had any experience with alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, they don't fuck around.
Yeah.
And ABC, which is the alcohol beverage and something. I can't remember what the other one is. Yeah, Alcohol Beverage Commission. You will lose your license so fast. And if you are a bar and like that's your thing where you have like a DJ and a dance club at night and you get people in there to drink and you can't serve alcohol anymore.
Yeah.
Business is dead. They would have been out.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Who knows?
We'd talked to other people who had been there before, decades later, or years later, we talked about, and they said, oh, wow, we'd never had that experience. We knew some things were changing with ownership and they had some issues with being investigated, blah, blah, blah. This is how we learned it. But they'd never had that experience.
No.
And so it was probably very short-lived for like 1 or 2 weekends and they stopped doing it.
Right. Probably because people were complaining about it.
Oh my God. It was so traumatic.
It's because we both look like cops.
Yeah. I guess. I don't know.
Who knows?
The perfect, I don't know, undercover person next door. Yeah. So needless to say, our first experiences were shit shows.
Yes. Now, I will say, and this is for another episode, so you'll want to come back. We had many other experiences after this, and our next experience was, if this was like the lowest, this next one was one of our highest experiences, and it was fantastic.
Is this the one with Marianne?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, at a glow party, and it was off the charts exciting. So we'll have to do another episode where we talk about that for sure.
Yes, because third time is the charm, right? We gotta end on a high note. Although the Share Your Wife had some pluses to it.
Yeah, it wasn't a total shit show.
No, but yeah, the third one definitely epic.
Peak.
Yeah, and it took a long time for that one to ever get matched.
Yeah. So you for sure will want to come back and listen to that episode when we get it done.
So if you want to go on a vacation with us and have a good time, it's not going to be like that.
Yeah.
So be sure to check out our website because we've got all kinds of vacations that we're going on. Next year, we're going on 2 cruises with Virgin. So you want to be sure to get on those cruises. Check out our vacation page on swingeruniversity.com. And don't forget to do your homework. Be sure to tell a friend and leave us a review and a comment. Tell us how else they can get a hold of us.
I'm glad you asked, Phoebe. You can also leave us a voicemail at 916-538-0482. And we would love to get a call, and not just a robocall from spam people, but actual people who want to converse with this show. Or you can contact us at swingeruniversity.com. There you can send us an email, or you can leave us a short message. And if you leave us a short message, it's totally anonymous. We'll get your little voice memo and we can include it in the show if you're interested.
Yeah, ask us a question. We'll answer it.
Tell us your worst experience. Tell us if you've ever been strip searched going into a club. Even if there's rubber gloves involved. And as we like to say, keep learning, keep growing, and keep it sexy.
Want an adventure that will give you memories for a lifetime? We've been on 3 bliss cruises, and they were filled with daily sexy activities, great conversations, evening theme parties, and exciting memories. There's something for everyone, no matter where you are in your lifestyle journey. All are welcome. Book your cruise through our link and create your unforgettable experience, moments, and smiles. Visit swingeruniversity.com/vacations and book your trip today.